All right. Hello, hello, hello. Tim, you are always first. That's amazing. I love it. I know it's such a delay now. I'm starting to see we have like a 10-second delay now tonight. It's crazy. I guess everybody streams on a Friday night. Hi Angie. How is everyone? How is everyone? Lord have mercy. It has been a week. How no, it is how is it? I can't even think of the sentence right now. Why do both of them sound wrong? How is everyone? I think that's right. How are everyone? How is everyone? And I call myself a writer. This is terrible. All right. So, we are Friday night. Hi Liz, good to see you. How many of you have been working on your own projects this week with AI, whether it's a manuscript that you need to get finished or if you are working on a new project? Let us know in the chat. Like, how was your successful was your week? My goals today are to kind of go over what we did. Feel free to put in the chat things that you want me to go over again. Anything that from this week, maybe you weren't able to come to every live and you saw something replayed and you're like, what the heck was that thing? Could you show that again? If I can, I will try to show it. Oh, good. You were on vacation. That sounds good. Uh, good to see that, Liz. Then the other thing is I'm going to kind of recap what we did and see how many words we're at. I think I want to try to make some sense of all of this stuff because I have a bunch of words ready to go that we kind of like were done and went. Good to hear that you were working on 2 projects. I love it. Okay. So about Rexy, because you brought him up. You brought him up. You brought him up. I'm doing everything I physically can. Like I have been working for 4.5 hours on him today, as a matter of fact. Different meetings about different features of him and things like that. We do have some good news in the sense that we are simplifying some things for the launch of him. So that'll be good. It won't really be the launch for the FFA people. That's already good and set. But by October 1st, like I said in the last live, it's looking like if you want to join the Future Fiction Academy, you will also be purchasing premium Rexy. So it will be kind of at that higher price point and it'll be all inclusive and everything like that so that we can get people running, profitable publishing businesses because that's the goal. It doesn't matter if you make $100 profit from your business or you make $100,000 profit from your business. A business that's making profit stays in business, and that's what should be the goal. And you all know the drill. You know that right now Dasha is already scratching at the door because she couldn't be here early. Sorry. I feel like a children's show host. Come on, Dasha. One thing that was sad for me last week was the death of Pee Wee Herman, or well, Paul Rubens. But all those children's shows of like, okay, I'm live and I'm going to talk to you, and then it's like, oh, there's a special guest at the door. It's my dog. She always has to interrupt. Doesn't matter if I'm teaching live, if I'm showcasing live, or if I'm on YouTube. She won't come in beforehand, and she has to come in the middle. It's just the way it works. Okay, checking up on the chat here. Cool. Oh, good, Jess. Good to see you. Watching all things EAW. I love that nickname. It's one of my favorite nicknames, I think. I like it better. My family calls me Liz. I can't stand Liz. Okay, so here we go. We are 1 minute in. I think everyone who's going to make it here is here. Let's start with the recap. This time, I'll make sure I'm sharing my screen. So here we go. This is the link that is in the description. So check out the description so that you can get all of your goodies that's here. Let me close this out. So coming down here, I know all these toggles. It's Ryan's fault that I've got toggle brain. I can do toggles for everything. Okay, so we did session 5 and we did demo dictation. This was actually very successful. We got quite a few words here. I don't quite remember exactly how many words, but we're going to try to piece this together. I think it was like 3,000 or 4,000 that we ended up with. Okay, so we are in session 6 and we are going to recap. And again, put it in the chat if there's any things that I did that you want more information on. So that way I will know. And it looks like I need to close Facebook because Facebook is going to give me alerts. I almost clicked on it. I almost did it. But then I forgot that I'm sharing the entire window for my Google. So that would be bad. You guys would see, notifications and things. Let's see. Let me go here and let me check the chat real fast to see if there was anything anyone asked for. Okay. Yes, it is definitely easier to be like, you are Liz and I'm not Liz. And yeah, I agree. That does keep it straight. It's funny. I don't actually, even though Elizabeth has been a very popular name, I don't meet very many who have many people who have Elizabeth as a first name. It's usually their middle name. But I was lucky enough to get it as my first name. So going back to what we did here, I want to talk a little bit about the process when you are writing with a book already in progress. Number one, the AI cannot think. Okay. And we did test in that session one of just like throwing the whole book into Claude 2.0 and being like, yo, Claude, finish the book. And Claude's like, no. And then we even tried this whole thing of like, okay, write me an outline or write me over 10 chapters and finish the book. It kind of summarized a little bit, but it petered out. So when you are working with an existing piece of writing with the artificial intelligence, what you have to do is you have to lend it your brain. Don't actually take it out. Just, basically you need to think through the tasks of what it's going to look like. And so we did that where we kind of trying to create a human plan. And then I teach basically you translate the human plan to what the AI needs to do. So for example, one of the things that the AI can't do very well is read a bunch of words. So you can't just feed it a novel and say, hey, this is the novel. You need to memorize the novel and you need to know the novel. It can't yet. There's some success and some technology that's coming out with embeddings, especially with Ada 2 and things. However, I played with some of that and it's fantastic. There's a site called Prompt Studio that has a place that you can kind of play with some Ada embeddings with long documents. However, because it's using Ada 2, which is an old model, AI comparative speaking terms, it's only a few years old. But because it's an older model, you have to be very specific. So if my story constitution, story Bible, but the story Bible, basically story constitution, has everything in there, all the chapters, and it says chapter 16, Jane Bingley polished the silver with a maid. And I asked the question, who polished the silverware? It's not smart enough to know that silver equals silverware. So you have to be very specific on the words and everything like that. But there is progress being made. And I think that in another couple of months that real life story Bibles or story content that you can index and you can search and vector search with AI, I think that's coming. I think that's going to be probably the next really big innovation. And you can see these large AI models that are starting to play with these things with Code Interpreter. The fact that with ChatGPT, we can actually put in a bunch of documents and we can make it kind of synthesize that. Although I will say this, the day that Code Interpreter came out, it was really good. Lately, though, you need to be very careful with your prompting. Because most of the time when I put in a document, and tell me in the chat if you're running into this too, I'll put in a set of documents and you need to look at the code. And we actually have a lab that Leland did where it was like intro to Python, which is very helpful because for those of us who don't code, he went over a lot of great beginner techniques and concepts. So now when I use Code Interpreter, I can kind of see when it's starting to write code and like, oh, that's a bad way to do that. Don't do it that way. For example, if I give it a longer document that's like 7,000 words, it'll only index the first 10,000 characters to get an idea of what the document is. And I'm like, well, that was a dumb way to do that, Code Interpreter. That's not how I want you to do that. So I'm kind of finding like Code Interpreter, the more influence with humans, I found it to be a little bit dumber than when it first came out. And I think that that's kind of the way that's happening with all these models. They come out, they're awesome. Then, the humans get in there and muck about and the training gets kind of confused. And we start getting kind of sometimes diminishing results until they do whatever magic that it is that they do on the back end that we get better results for a little while. So it's always like a push me, pull you on a day-to-day basis of what you're going to get with the AI. Okay. So there is a question here in the chat. Is it ever worth stopping and redoing an outline to be more AI friendly? Yes. I was helping another author before the live this afternoon with their outline. And sometimes we think that we're clear in our outline, but if you were to look at it with fresh eyes, you would realize that you've given it no context. So we can take a look at some outlines as an idea there. The easiest outline generator I know how to work with would probably be Pseudowrite, but we'll play with some real fast, like with ChatGPT, since I know most of you use ChatGPT to write outlines. So I'm going to do ChatGPT, and I'm going to do an oldie but goodie. I'm going to do a very quick prompt here. That is, we'll work with GPT-4. And I will go ahead and say, write for me a 12-chapter contemporary romance novella outline using chapter types for a subgenre do we want? You know what? Let's do A contemporary romance for a sweet Christmas story involving a small town, right? It's the end of August, y'all. Start be thinking about your Christmas. What are you planning to release at Christmas time? Involving a small town. Each chapter type should explain its role in the overall plot structure. So, go gadget. You'll notice I didn't give it characters. I did not give it really specifics about why it's a romance or anything like that. I literally am asking it to just give me the structure and everything. So this is a really good example of how an outline could have the kinds of information that a human might already kind of know in their subconscious. For example, deepening bonds, deepening relationship, strengthening the bond between two main characters. We will intrinsically know this. We will intuitively know this. Different things that a chapter might fulfill, especially if you are a writer who writes in the dark. Okay. So if you are a writer who writes in the dark, and what that means is like you're writing and you're not necessarily writing to an outline. One of the ways that you can work with AI is you can have your chapters. You can write your chapter one, tell it to write chapter one, and you can have it write chapter two, and then you can always tell it to go back and outline chapter two for you, summarize chapter two for you, so you have that summary. And if you keep that as a living document, which is basically what I've done here with this master outline, okay, I did have an outline for the story. It's changed a bajillion times at this point. However, this particular living outline, and maybe that's what we'll call these. I don't know if somebody's got a better term or there's already a term for this, let me know, because I'm making it up as I go a little bit. But the point is that I write the chapter, then I document what's in the chapter so that it's in a format that an AI can understand, because the AI is not going to be able to process all of the chapters. Not even Claude with the 100K context can really drill down to the nuance level that you're going to expect a junior writer to be able to do. But if you put it into a format that it can quickly understand, like this particular document, this document is 9,000 words, 8,939 words. That is not too many words by any stretch of the means for ChatGPT 16K to handle, because that one can handle up to like 12,000 words, probably even a little bit more. 16,000 tokens, you just multiply it by 0.75. So that's 12,000. So there's room there for it to be able to read this document and then to kind of give me more information of like how the chapters could keep going. So that is how you can kind of write into the dark and everything like that, especially if you're a pantser. And what's nice about this is if I have this living document going, then I always have this like safety blanket that I can grab, or safety net rather, that I could grab and give it to the AI and say, hey, here's where we are so far, and I'm drawing a blank. Here's what I've got written so far in this chapter. Can you finish it off? And we kind of did some of those techniques earlier in the week. We were giving it parts of the chapter, and then it was continuing on. We also did that in Claude on the last session, even when I was working with the dictation. If I pull up my Claude chat, you can see that methodology here where I was like a delicate family matter. Back here, we had the transcription and we were testing that. But then I was like, here's how I want you to continue this on. So these are the different like core methods of working with AI. You have to do the thinking. You have to do the driving. And if you do the thinking and you do the driving, then it'll do some writing and some drafting for you so that you have good rough draft material to play with. All right, so back to ChatGPT. So you'll see here that it gave a description for the example. And that's kind of like putting it into this thought of a contemporary Christmas romance novella. And I would go through, set up, introduce the atmosphere. Cool. Ellie reminisces about her child. The Christmas spirit of Christmas is everywhere. Ellie runs into Jake, first two loves. Now, I would immediately kind of, usually these are like, she doesn't like Christmas or something like that. And then the response. So we have a catalyst, we have a reaction. Reaction to the inciting incident. She feels torn. She's moved on. She built a life in the city, but seeing Jake reminds her of the simplicity and beauty of small town life. This is where sometimes the AI is not ready yet. And what I mean by that is, let me walk it through here. Here I have a very clear action situation. Ellie runs into Jake, her childhood friend and first love. The two haven't seen each other for years. Their unexpected meeting stirs up old feelings. I have a very clear parameter of what kind of a setting that this could happen in, they have to run into each other. It doesn't matter if it's at a cafe, a ballpark, a shopping mall, whatever it is, it's got a very clear what's got to happen action wise in that chapter. She has to run into Jake. Chapter 3 doesn't have that. And this is where the AI kind of falls down a little bit. It knows that it needs to have some kind of introspection moment, but it's not always the best at describing that, because if I just let it write chapter 3, you may end up with a scene where Ellie's looking in a mirror and feeling torn and inspecting her face and wondering why Jake doesn't love her anymore and thinking about the city. And these are all things that we would, as professionals, not publish. We probably put them in our first books, maybe our second and third books, but eventually we learned that you really need to have some kind of action backdrop to show that. That's when you take that first level and you go up that next step. So if we want her to feel torn and she's built on, we need to come up with another character that is going to somehow make her need to process these emotions. So, for example, what's often very tropey in this moment is somebody older and wiser basically saying, Ellie, don't let the opportunity miss you the second time. Or maybe there's a best friend, or maybe sometimes another twist on this is like a child. If she has a child that's like, I really don't want to move back to the city, Mom. Can't we, stay here with Grandpa? So you have to have some kind of, it's not another catalyst necessarily, but it's just a prism or a filter basically for that reflection to go through. Let me check the chat and see if I'm losing anyone. Okay, so we're talking about Halloween novellas. Got it. Good to hear, Harper. Okay, but does that make sense to everyone about lending the AI your brain and having to look at these outlines and putting them in a better way for the AI to understand? Particularly Liz, because you asked this question. So like this is a situation where I, as a senior writing partner and experienced with AI, know I need more meat on this particular beat. And I would love to hear anyone else kind of weigh in who writes with AI as well, or who has kind of noticed this as well, that if you leave it open-ended like this is usually the spot where it goes off the rails. Yep. Okay. So here, the characters actively pursue their goals. Well, we probably should have defined our goals. So this is also another way that you can start to kind of get insight into what are the things the AI needs to help you write with. If it's saying that the characters need to have goals and I never defined the goals, guess what the AI is going to do? It's going to invent those goals. And since the AI has a limitation on context window, it may reinvent those goals chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. Like it'll just keep reinventing. You'll end up with 6 different stories happening with these same character names. In one scene, she's a real estate agent who really wants to bring a big development. That's actually a good idea. A big development to her small town. Usually the trope there is that like she's got to stop the big developer, but it'd be kind of cool if she was the big developer. And I'm sure there's other books out there. I'm not trying to say that's a unique premise necessarily. It's just kind of a less heard twist. Then the other thing that you'll end up with, so chapter 2, she might be a real estate agent. Chapter 3, it'll say like she's a teacher and she's had to come back because they had a teacher shortage. And it's like, AI, did you forget which book we were writing together? And the answer is yes, it did forget, because it didn't ever know about Ellie, the real estate agent. When it was presented with the purpose to write chapter 4, it didn't get to necessarily read chapter 3 unless you have that living document. That living document can be like this one where I have the characters and the settings and everything that happens in the chapter. You can also divide these out into individual documents. You also can make reports. So you can do a step, kind of an innovative step here, where you give it the documentation. Don't do it in Code Interpreter, because Code Interpreter will just read the first 10,000 characters. But you can, unless you tell it to like read the whole document. Sometimes that works better with Code Interpreter. But the point is that this idea of a chapter report or something like that, some kind of reporting step in between your writing step, helps the AI to gather the information it needs in order to write the next scene, especially, if it needs to pull those assumptions and conclusions and inferences from the outline, from the story so far, and from the character box. So these are all different ways to work with the AI. All right, let me see what I have in the chat. Yes, it's when you get 300 word chapters. Absolutely. And so moving down here, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. So invites the town's annual Christmas festival. So let's say I want to twist this. How many of you want the real estate agent and how many of you want the former teacher? Which one do we want Ellie to be? Is she a teacher coming back for the teacher shortage, or is she a real estate developer who is going to bulldoze whatever name they've made this town? I don't even think they named the town. Because we don't have a town name. She's going to help renovate the town and turn it into a big thing. What do we think? Teacher shortage, real estate. Okay, I've got a 1-to-1 vote. There's 21 people watching right now. Put your votes in the chat. First one is the real estate. Second one is the teacher shortage. Let's see what the votes come in at. Meanwhile, I get to have some more lemonade. Oh man, it's still neck and neck. Real estate and teacher shortage. You guys are going to make me do both. Okay, how about this? She's real estate and he's a teacher because he came back for the teacher shortage. Sound good? Everyone happy? This is hilarious, not gonna lie. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, and this is a technique that we're doing right here that they call chain of thought, which just means that I got the AI kind of in the mood to write a contemporary romance novella that's about a Christmas story involving a small town. Okay. And what I mean by that is what I could do is I'm going to say, make me a list of 14 characters, main and side, that will be used to write this novella. The new stakes of the novella are Ellie is back in town to size up an old abandoned piece of land for a new condo development. Dun, dun, dun. Because everybody hates condos. They're evil. No, they're not. And let's make it even worse. And strip mall. Oh, gosh, she's bringing a strip mall in. Meanwhile, Jake, is that his name? It's always Jake, right? Yeah, Jake. I don't even know why I looked. Meanwhile, Jake moved back the previous year with his 7-year-old son, Max, right? Because it's always got to be Jake and Max and Ellie. It's just the most boring names ever. Apologies if you have those names. It's just very, very common in the AI. It's all the AI writes with. And Ava, don't forget Ava. Moved back the previous year with his 7-year-old son, Max, due to the teacher shortage in Name the Town. I'm just going to put that in here. So it will do that. So now it's got this more information about what we're going to be doing here. And so we have these characters. So she's a real estate in her late 20s who returns to her hometown to assess a piece of land for the new condo development and strip mall. She's driven and ambitious, but holds a soft spot. First love, moved back to town the previous year to a job opportunity as school teacher, father to Max. Max, key side character. So you'll see that it's now, I love that I put the mayor of town name. All right, we're just going to call it Townsville. That's it. It's Townsville. Excuse me. All right. And it's not really, okay. So now we have sort of these characters here. We've got Sophie Grant and Paul Whitman and Amy Collins and Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis doesn't get a first name. Clara Thompson, Henry Bennett, Nina Foster, Lucas Green, Mrs. Perkins, Bethany Mitchell, Tom Richards, and Max Mitchell, and Bethany Mitchell. Oh, Jake's sister. Okay. We haven't decided what the heck happened to Max's mother, but I was like, wait a minute. Cool. So we have a local cafe and everything like that. Oh my goodness. As for the town's name, let's call it Willowbrook. least it's not Willow Creek. It's right next to Willow Creek. It's like 3 exits down on the interstate. That's where Willowbrook is compared to where Willow Creek is. The name evokes a sense of tranquility and has a timeless small town feel, making it suitable for your novella setting. This is just hilarious. We made jokes about doing after novella novella doing AI after dark because we were having so much fun last night. Okay, I'm catching up on the chat. Yep, Jake, great compromise. It's next to Willowburg and Willowton. Yes, I love it. Bunches of Zoes and Lilas. I hear ya. Very popular too. Yep, Jake. It's always Jake from State Farm. As somebody said, maybe that's what it was. Maybe State Farm. Maybe the AI watched a bunch of State Farm commercials, and so that's why it thinks everybody should be Jake. Okay, so now that I have done this thing where I have the basics of an outline, and now I have these characters here, I'm going to say, great. Now, I had somebody tell me, you don't have to compliment the AI. Baloney. Here's why you compliment the AI. The AI is not looking for kudos. It's not looking for pats on the head. It's a large language model, so all language counts. If you tell it great, it knows it's doing a good job. It knows that it needs to build off of it. If you don't say great, it does kind of send the inference that what it previously wrote was not correct, and it now needs to make somewhat of a drastic correction compared to what it had already given you. At least that's my anecdotal experience, and I run millions of tokens like monthly, it feels like. Let me know in the chat if you feel that your experience is similar, that when you give kind of positive language back, this is not about, buttering up our future robot overlords, nothing like that. When you use the tools of language for the large language model, you get better results. So if you tell it great, it thinks, okay, I'm building off of this. If you say, that did not work for me, I need these changes, it thinks it needs to do a wholesale rewrite. And I will check the chat on that, since that's kind of a hot take. Product placement in the AI. Yeah, totally. Okay, so I'm going to say, great. Let's rewrite the outline and punch up the romance and conflict and tension using inspiration and the actual characters in the character list. This book must be a page turner. Let's see what it does. And look at that. Absolutely. Let's dive deeper into the romance, conflict, tension using the characters you now have. Here's a revised 12th chapter outline. So now they're at the town's park. The chemistry is palpable. Jake is a father. Nina is it's going a little too fast for me. Okay, Claire Thompson, a family dinner. Tom Richards, Ellie's boyfriend from the city. Oh boy, we have a love triangle now. Mrs. Perkins. Oh, I saw cornered and I thought we were going to do cornbread. I was excited for a minute. Ellie decides to refuse the development and resigns from her job. I bet she also started underwater basket weaving. There's a joke actually about like, what do you get when you play a Hallmark movie backwards? She gets her boyfriend back, her job back, and her independence back. So that's the, I don't know if people have seen that joke or not. Okay. I am keeping up with the chat. I'm going to move it over just so that I can see it over here while we're going. That's a little bit better. And I can just move this over so we don't have to see all of that. And there we go. I think that's good. Okay. So we are back with this, and now I have this outline and everything like that. She rejects Tom's proposal. Okay, great. Let's add character motivation in each chapter and setting information. So it's just going to rewrite that the outline one more time. And then I'm going to probably take this and play with it over in Rexy. If everyone's cool with that. Does anyone want to play with Rexy and see Rexy? You don't have to. We can do it in Claude. I know you guys don't have access to Rexy yet, so it's a little bit rude. But we do have this this outline that we could play with. It is a little bit long. Oh, we have a Dark Night of the Soul. Nina's garden gazebo surrounded by snow-covered plants. We like being nosy. Rexy. Yeah. It's pretty powerful. Although I feel like it's cheating because my Rexy, I have the Claude API key. But you can copy and paste the prompts into Claude and run them that way too. You don't have to. I just can be faster because I can go bloop, 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 bloop. Actually, you know what? Let's run it in 16K. What do you guys think? You want to try that? That way, we're running it in a way that Rexy will be able to run it for everybody to your notion. I feel like I should be encouraging you to finish your book. Oh, you're so sweet. That ship sailed about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'm not really like, this is what makes me happy, truthfully. And the book is going to be done. I don't have a bunch of meetings and stuff this weekend necessarily. And I have some room next week and some breathing room. So I'll get the book done. It's just, I am finding that I need to stop making lives to finish books necessarily, in the sense that I get on here and I feel like I need to perform because I want to perform. And this is not going to be fun. Like, we can go back to the book that I was writing and it's going to be a lot of like watching the paint dry, which I think I can do for lives actually. Just not not for primetime lives like this one where we're having fun. But I think that there may be a future where I'm writing live and it's not so interactive. I'm not checking the chat necessarily. I'm just kind of narrating what I'm doing as I'm doing, and other people are writing beside me. Let me know. I hate to say this. Let me know in the. I feel like such a millennial, like such an influencer to be like, let me know in the chat what you think about this idea. If you hear me start going boo boo boo, just check on me, okay? But the point is that I do think that there's value in accountability, and I think that there's value in showing up. I made 11,000 words happen this week, and that was because I had to show up here for you all and perform and make those words happen. This is the last night of the Write A Thon, so I'm feeling like we got 11,000 words. I kind of want to edit them in peace. I don't know that I can be. I am over my hangups about writing live. I don't know that I'm over my hangups of editing live, because like in my mind, I can suck writing live and you won't be as judgy because it'll be like, oh, she can fix it in edits, or, so there we go. Yeah. Join FFA for more EAW Write With Me sessions. Absolutely. So that's where that's at. But does that make sense? Like, you can write live because you can still hide the fact that you're going to edit the crap out of it. But editing it live, it's like, I mean, I guess I could just accept that this is just the first editing pass. We could do that. Oh, very cool, Rachel. As you live in Hawaii and zones are an issue. Thank you. Okay, so we'll do the vote. Do we want it? I mean, I know you guys really want Rexy, but I could actually do the editing that you guys, what I did promise. We do have some people asking to do the thing that I said I would do in the title of the YouTube video of editing it. We'll just call it the first editorial pass. But let me ask you this. How many of you do have problems with, once you get these outputs from the AI, do you struggle with putting them together like Lego blocks? Is that a challenge as a skill? I will wait. It's like a 10-second wait. It's the worst. So we have one vote for yes on that it's difficult to put them together. All right. And then those of you who are in the FFA, if you are part of the Rexy, here's my compromise. If you are someone who volunteered for the Rexy test group and you were approved and you're in the group, send me a message that you're here on this live, and I'll make sure that you get set up with Rexy this weekend. So Christine says she has problems with getting an outline that follows the synopsis I gave it. Not really a challenge in how, but a challenge on just sitting and doing. The other stuff is more fun. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You see me, I want to just go keep creating. Wrangling all the information. That's a job. Edit as I go when I kit bash. Okay. So then we'll focus on the editing, because it sounds like that's the biggest the biggest challenge. Yes. Send me a DM. We'll schedule a time this weekend. That'll be my compromise so that I can go back to editing the boring. It's not a boring Jaff book. It's actually a really good Jaff book. It's very exciting and very energetic. Okay. So I will leave the field trip behind. We won't forget you, Ellie and Jake, in Christmas Town, Townsville, what did it call? Willowbrook, USA. We'll come back to you one day. Okay. Oh, I don't want me. That's weird. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go to trying to make some sense and wrangle some sense out of what the heck I created all this week. So that will be our next step here. And let me just kind of close this a little bit more. Nope, that's not good. It has to be at least this big for me to see the chat. I'm going to have the chat open on the right-hand side this time now. So let me see if I can do this. Tell me how bad this closes the window for you guys. Did that change substantially what you all see on your screen? I'm watching the replay now to see what it does, what it did. Nope. Okay, it doesn't really look like it changed much for you guys. But now I can see your chat as I am working here. Good. Okay, cool. So bye-bye, Ellie. Bye-bye, Willowbrook. I closed ChatGPT, at least for right now. Okay, so let's go make sense of what the mess I made was, because I really did make a mess. So we have the outline so far. I did finish I finished off 100% the ball scene, I think, for the most part, because I did edit that part live and got it to where the Duke, it seems Kitty has saved Duke from one of Mama's schemes. Indeed, it appears the evening is full of unexpected delights. Okay, that I need to actually do a change and edit on. I have a note about that. Remember, I did remember that I am hooking up Kitty with Dr. Matthews. So I need Dr. Matthews. I'll just put a note here for me to fix this later. So I'm going to insert a comment and I'm going to write, change this ending so Kitty is seen talking intently to Dr. Matthews. And, oh, but Mary's there. So Mary could dance with the Duke. That's an even better gag. Okay. So now that I know how to fix it and it came to me, I'm going to just have the AI fix it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the section here. And we have tools and word count just so I can get an idea. 403 words. That's not too many words for the AI to kind of handle. So I'm going to grab this. I'm not going to use Rexy for this. I think I'm going to use Claude. So I'm going to do a new chat with Claude. And I'm going to say, read this selection of writing. So it's there. I'm going to put my dinkus in. And that's just to help put a line between what I'm requesting and what's already there. Please. Hey, you took out my dinkus. That's rude, Claude. Please completely rewrite it so that Mary Bennet dances with the Duke of Devonshire to the consternation of Mrs. Bennet trying to promote Lydia Bennet, and have Kitty Bennet be observed happy and attentive to Dr. Matthews. Okay. So here we go. Yeah, and for those of you who are messaging me right now, I'll tell you what, after the live stream, I will put a link to Zoom in FFA. Like I'll message you guys and we'll get you guys set up. So Rexy's going to change, just so you know, but we can get a few people being able to play with it. Okay. I do love this. I do love that Mary Bennet had the gall to ask the Duke. I know it's not polite or anything like that, but I think it's fun and I think it's funny for the thing, because Mrs. Bennet's being so bold. Kitty Bennet watched her older sister take to the floor with the Duke with a delighted smile. She was happy to see Mary getting the chance to dance, since their mother often overlooked her. Nearby, she noticed Dr. Matthews chatting amicably with some guests. Making her way over, she joined the conversation, soon earning the doctor's attentiveness and admiration for her quick humor. Okay, So that's going to be great. Please expand the part about this. So that it has dialogue and shows the reader versus telling the reader. So I'm expanding that a little bit. I know this is way so many words. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. Publication of the latest medical advances. Oh, I never miss an issue of the Lancet. Okay, so there's that with Kitty's intellect, but that's not the point there. Oh, it like froze. Okay. Continue. Nonsense, the Duke insisted. Your partner is lucky to have you on his arm. Okay. Good job, Mary. Okay, I kind of like this. The only thing is that I need I need this rewritten too. The problem is like Kitty's not a reader, she's an artist. So the whole purpose here. You know what? It's fine. Let's just find out what the heck the Lancet is. The Lancet journal. Oh, that's a problem. If it was founded in England in 1823, we're in 1813, so we'll have to take that out. So that's fine. I'll fix that. Okay, so we have this here up to the nearby. So we'll grab this. And yeah, there's some really terrible writing here. She was happy to see Mary. I'm fixing all of that when I go line by line, when I do my line edit. That's the thing. This is just kind of a gross edit for content. So I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to grab over here. So to get the rewrite right here. This is insane. This is like writing with AI. You just end up overwriting and then you just have to cut mercilessly. So we'll grab this. And now we have that information there. So tools, word count, I don't even want to know. Yeah, so 39,000 words so far. We had 35,000 to start. Oh, because I don't have the other chapters and I do have to fix that. Okay, so I have the ball that it needs major edits to finish that off. And this is not the ball. What the heck did I just do? Marble floor. Oh, because it's at the end when they go back to the ball. That's why. Okay. Never mind. That's not too long of a chapter. That works. Chapter 18. So this is going to be study. Then back to the ball. These are the notes I leave myself so that I can understand what each chapter was. Okay, so chapter 18. This is Christmas at Rosings with Georgiana. Georgie. So that one I think is okay. I don't remember. I think it was on the short side. And then we expanded it in one of the sessions. So this is word count. Yeah, 1267. This is super, super short. So I'd have to read through that and then add to it. So we'll just make notes here. I guess I should make my editing notes as well. So insert, comment. Oh, okay. So it's just Command Option M. Okay, so this is for me. Clean up to make less wordy. And this one, Control Option M. Command Option M. Haha, I'm learning my shortcuts in Google Drive. This one is just full line edit. It's pretty much raw AI. The ball run is not raw AI. It's gone through a couple of iterations. This one is raw AI, needs expansion. Only 1267 words. Now, if you use a tool like Scrivener or something like that, it will keep track of like which words are what. I'm working on moving to a system like Scrivener, or I'm sorry, not Scrivener. Lord, no. Like Notion, where I can start creating databases and tables and stuff where I can put these different chapters in. I'm writing a farm cozy, and the AI is obsessed with her having a chicken coop for some reason. It inserts it everywhere. Well, I mean, it's a farm. I had a scene last night that I was playing with it, and it was just writing. This was AI After Dark. It was writing about they were talking at the meet cute dinner, and the female character asks, tell me about your mother, and the guy goes, oh, she's quite the character. I should tell you about her latest art installation. It involved live chickens in a hay bale. And I was just rolling on the floor. It's not as funny today, but I'd had 2 glasses of wine last night. So I was just, I was howling at that because it just sounded so ridiculous that the AI would come up with an art installation that involved live chickens in a hay bale. Maybe because it took place in Nashville. I don't know. Okay, so this one, we are the day after Christmas. We're skipping Christmas at Pemberley. That's probably not a good idea. We should probably have a scene that's Christmas at Pemberley. Oh, my readers might burn me an effigy if I do that one. I'm trying to think. I don't know in this book series. No, because the previous Christmas was when Elizabeth got thrown out of the house. Dang it. I'm going to have to write this like really emotional scene. Dag nabbit. Okay. All right. Well, these are what these edits are for. Okay. So what you just watched me do. My job is to deliver to my readers what they love to read. And I know what they love to read because this genre is my number one all-time favorite genre to read. The book that really first got me hooked, actually, I don't think I have it on this bookshelf because it's over in like the reading corner, was Mr. Darcy Takes a Wife, which is fantastic, by Linda Birdall. And there are so many things where it's just like any genre, right? Everybody, all of your genres that you write in, are there certain elements that if you cut them, they will be very mad at you? Like that, they're just certain scenes that they pay. That's what they're paying the money for. They're paying the money for that, for the butter, for the universal fantasy, for those experiences of those scenes where it's just like, this is the experience I came for. This is what I came for. So if I don't write Christmas at Pemberley, and everything like that, this is going to be a problem. And so I'm just going to put a note for myself. Christmas at Pemberley needs to happen. Arrival of Dr. Cooper. And very poignant callback to the previous Christmas. And show Mr. Bennet slightly improving. Okay. All right. So, oh, cool. You loved James and Murder Comes to Pemberley. Fantastic. Yes, tar and feathered. Absolutely. Does it ever get confusing writing Elizabeth and being Elizabeth? No, because I'm not Elizabeth Bennet. She's this is kind of funny. Hot take, and I'm not the first person to say this or anything like that, but nobody likes to point out the fact that Elizabeth Bennet didn't change her mind about Mr. Darcy in the book until after she saw Pemberley. I'll just leave that there. But yeah, totally. She went to Pemberley, saw Pemberley, and there's even a line. I'd have to double check if it's actually in the book, or if it is just in one of the adaptations where I believe she says like, and to think of all this, I might have been mistress. I think that's in the book because it sounds a little too on the nose for modern writing. So there's also that running joke of Jane Austen says he will change for me. The Bronte sisters say we will change and be miserable together. Or no, I will make him. Jane Austen says I will make him change. The Bronte sisters, I won't say I will make him miserable. And Shelley says I will make him. So that's kind of the joke of the female writers of the time period. I write long cozies, and some well-meaning friends have suggested just cut it in half and solve the mystery in the second book. Yeah, no, you can't do that. Nope, 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 no, 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 no. That would be suicide. So I'm going to need to kind of like put some. So let's talk about how I'm going to write this scene. So since it's freaking August, here's my tricks for how I write Christmas stuff when I have to, and I've had to in the past when it's not Christmas time. Put some Christmas music on. If you're apologies if this is not your religion, but put some Christmas music on, get a candle that smells like Christmas. And it'll help put you in the mood. Like you can't help yourself. You're just like, okay, yeah, we'll write about some Christmas. Particularly, I don't put Christmas music on that's like, the jingle jangle, nothing like that. It's more of like instrumental Celtic does Christmas music and stuff like that. So it's very it's very instrumental rather than like Christmas carols that we sing. Yes, environmental writing. I do it all the time. And with AI, it's even easier, right? Because I don't have to be in the Christmas spirit. The AI does. Even better. That might be even easier. Okay. So this is not going to be chapter 19. This is oh dear. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I've got to write that other chapter there. So that's chapter 19. So this is going to be chapter 20. Okay. So the day after Christmas dawned clear and crisp over the snow blanket grounds of Pemberley. So now this is the surgery. Surgery. There we go. At the Grant Farm, chapter 20 doesn't match in Notion. Okay, I got that. Chapter 21. I don't need to write. I'll leave that note for myself for later. The cold air. So this is where they're getting ready to leave Pemberley. We are leaving Pemberley. Actually, this is going to be chapter 22. I've decided because I need to write another chapter in the middle here. Chapter 23. This will be the fake labor pains of Anne Fitzwilliam. There we go. So, because that can be a short, and that can also kind of like set the tone for what's going on in London and everything. Also, they receive a letter. They receive a letter from the Darcys. How wonderful! It's all beautiful and wonderful. We have this. We have that. Selected her warmest Pellis coat. All this. So we're all traveling. Go us. And this is the point in which I lost the thing with Notion. So this actually, I need to turn this into, if you turn it into a heading 1, it'll show up in your outline over here. And I don't know how I got my I cannot count to save my life. I promise I'm better at math than this. Okay, so 18, 19, 20, 23, you're 21. I don't know what your problem is. I think because I saw 22 and I thought next. So this is chapter 22, which doesn't match Notion. And then here is going to be chapter 23. I don't know what you're going to be chapter 23. I have lost the train of thought here. Chapter 23, and this stuff is in Notion. So if this is the carriage leaving, let's pop over to Notion because this is where I was saving stuff. So, oh dear God. Chapter 18, engaged. Thank goodness to me that I wrote what the heck it was about so I could match it up. The Bennett surgery is 19. And then this is chapter 3, writing. What? Oh, that was a test of something else. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So chapter 20. I have no idea what this is. This is, okay, so this is Anne gives birth. So this was the thing that was like this monstrosity where Anne gives birth, and then this is where that happens. So, there was a version of this, and I think it's in here. So this was Suda Wright's best version. Yeah, that's not what I want. Maybe this one had the... I thought there was one where I kept... Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to put it all in. We'll figure it out later. I'm going to put this one in because I think this one was pretty coherent. And then I'm going to put a link to the Notion page in my document. So this is Anne arrive London and gives birth. I'll have to check the timeline on that. So now we have that. And I'm also going to put underneath it so that I remember. More material here from Pseudo-Write. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab the link to it, which is rewrite of chapter 20. Yeah, that was the short rewrite. That was a fail. If it's a fail whale, I think we can just delete it. Delete. Okay. Goodbye. Thank you for your service. That was a summary, which I did capture, and this is the best version. So this is the link that I will grab to put into my rough draft thing here. So I can go consult that when I'm ready. And why were you not a hyperlink? Like, okay, that's so weird. So now we're starting to get an idea of how many raw words I really added, because we started at 35,000 words and our word count now is 43,000 words, which means I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can definitely finish this book. This is what I needed. Thank you so much for this accountability. You guys are the best. I would not have gone back to this thing if I don't know who you are, but it wasn't Mig's Eye. It was somebody who only spoke Electric. I don't know who Electric is, but you said I feel like I should be encouraging you to finish your book, and I just thank you. Your concern is what like got me, and like I'm getting there. So thank you. So 43,000 words, and I only have to edit it. See, this is like, I'm not diagnosed ADHD. My daughter is. I'm of the generation that nope, they didn't care. Like I was gifted and talented. I was kicked out of classes. That's all they cared about, that I could pass and everything. I have this thing where if the book is like too insurmountable to like for me to mentally conceive finishing it in like one big marathon sit down session, it's like, no, I can't do it. It's too hard. I know this is so weird. I don't think I'm the only one who has this. But for whatever reason, when it like crosses over 42,000 words, I'm like, oh, it's the roller coaster part. It's like, we are going down the hill and we're going to go up and twist and everything like that. But that middle part, that 25,000 to 38, 40,000 words, I would rather do anything than work on that book. I will detail your bathroom with a toothbrush before I will pick up that document and work with it. So that's not something I didn't know about myself, but it's a good reminder of the insight. And it means to me that I need to kind of craft a methodology with the AI that like helps me to push over. So push over the barriers. Interesting. Other people are saying that they have other barriers, but you know what? I think proportionately we're similar, because Liz, you write so much longer. So I think proportionately it's that same like 55 to 75%. That is like the no man's land. I just can't stop. If I stop there, I can't. I can't stop there. If it's 55 to 75% done, if I stop there, the project is definitely at risk of just being abandoned altogether. Are we the only ones, me and Liz in the chat there? If so, then it's just clearly an Elizabeth name, but I'm sure other people drown in their middles too. Okay, guess what? There's more to add because we wrote more. I mean, well, we didn't. The AI did, but I directed it. Yeah, middles are hard. Forget middles. Middles are the worst. I don't know why we still have them. This is where I did this. Okay. First things first, we're going to just copy the links so I have it there. And I'm copying the links because I know me, and it'll be like, okay, I can't do this because I've got to get all my tabs open. And it's going to be like, no, you don't, girl. You put all the links in there. You got yourself. You got it. So here we go, chapter 24, and we will do heading number 1, and then breadcrumbs, where the raw material lives. Boop. Why will you not link yourself automatically? What sorcery do I have to do Insert link. There. Thank you. So persnickety. Oh, not that one. This is why we link right here. Okay. So we have a superior opening from this, if I remember correctly. New version. So this was the bad one. We did not like that one at all. Okay, so I'm reading the chat. Yep. Okay, good, Danny. And good to see you. Rachel Heller, it's facing those moments when you'd rather have someone pull your toenails other than planting yourself in the chair and getting it done. Yeah, I'd give up my toenails in a heartbeat and my fingernails, whatever. I'm not doing it. And I feel so stupid and silly for admitting that. I feel so ridiculous to have to admit as a grown woman, well, there's a part of the manuscript that when I get there, I just don't want to finish it. But it's a real obstacle. It's a real thing that I've got to find ways to push through. Apparently making myself live on YouTube is one of them. So this was the one we did not like. We meaning me, because I can't hear from you, but we realized like it just recapped this part. But I don't remember if the ending part here was bad. Afraid of success. That's enough. That's a different live YouTube. Actually, I don't think that's a live YouTube. We'll talk about that in lab. Fears of success. We can talk about that in lab for a Club Strat check-in, which we have one planned actually, I think for next week. I put it on the schedule. Mr. Darcy stared out the carriage window. Yes, I loved this. I did have to change this. I remember that. You becoming one of those fashion popish gentlemen. You just arrived. And you are running off to your club and leaving me with Mary. I promise I won't make a habit of it. He whispered. Not the club or staying in London, he teased. There's a man I must meet tonight, especially before the inquest begins tomorrow. Cool. Perfect little, he was thinking back. I need something here. Press space for the AI. Write a transition out of the flashback where Mr. Darcy can't wait to get home. To his wife after his business. See if it. He's not going. Okay, so it did not understand what I wanted it to do. That is not what I wanted. Okay. So the best way to do this is pseudo write, actually. So I'm going to grab this and grab that. Come over to pseudo write. This is an advanced trick with pseudo write that I've used for months and months and months. It's one of my favorite tricks. Thank you for the chats. I really do appreciate that. I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels silly about it. Mig's Eye sharing what you're doing now, organizing and putting your ducks in a row helps to get clear on what's left to do. Yes, clarity and to-dos get me to the finish line. Murky middles are deep waters that you can drown in. Absolutely. Don't feel stupid. I'm still working on finishing one project and taking the leap into publishing. Oh, we can help with that, Jess. That's your first book's always your first book. And one thing I actually do suggest, don't publish that project first. Like, do a silly little short story or something just to go through the process. Oh, don't do it too fast. Okay, hold on. Let me back up. Get really close to being done with your novel project, okay? But when you're actually ready to publish that one, don't let that book be your first experience in publishing on Amazon. Do like a little essay or something like that, just so you can walk through the process. So you can watch how long it takes for the also bots to hit or anything like that, to understand the interfacing, to see how long it takes to click the button and let it go. And let it be a project that you're okay if you make a mistake on, because you will make mistakes. This is from, speaking of 15 years experience. Well, okay, I rounded up a little bit. 15 writing. Okay, I published in 2011. So what year is it? 23? 12 years experience publishing with the Amazon store. If you give yourself a little like project just to kind of like get past the barrier of publishing, it'll make it easier for you to publish your first novel. Ask me how I know. There may or may not have been an essay out there. I'm not even sure if it's still published, called I'm a Terrible Gambler, that I just wrote. A little essay, put a cover on it, and published it. And believe it or not, I actually made like $2 from reads on it. Very strange. What was I doing? I forgot. Paste that in. Now I remember I need a transition. So we have kind of a flashback here, because he's suddenly jolted from his thoughts by the memory of his wife's expression. Elizabeth hadn't been pleased. No sooner had they arrived in the town home. Maybe I don't need a transition, because it just kind of says, as the carriage came to a stop. Okay, it's fine. I'm going to leave it as it is. That was a little anticlimactic, but I will show you this trick. So here I can literally just put writer transition, smooth, coming out of the flashback. And you put it in brackets, and you grab, that's 133. So you can only do 100 words. So you go right here and you click expand, and it will kind of read what I have there. That did not work. What is going on with expand? Oh, it's following the instructions it's writing right here. Okay. The imposing structure was a stark. Okay. All right. This works. This just kind of repeats it. Okay. We can take that part out. Yeah, and I apologize. It was unsolicited. You didn't ask for the advice, but if it makes it easier, I've actually coached and helped a lot of authors publish their first book. And that's one of the things, because nobody practices publishing. And those of us who are veterans ask me how many times I put a typo in my title or my subtitle or my blurb, my keywords. And it's because I get, when you're publishing, you're usually like a flurry of adrenaline. And if you don't have any practice with it, it can really kind of be overwhelming. The first book, when I first published my first novel, there was a typo in the first page. So the sample literally had a typo in like paragraph 2. I can't tell you how many copy edit rounds I went through, and I did not see that typo. So it happens. And the good thing about our job, nobody dies. Make mistakes, nobody dies. We're not heart surgeons, nobody dies. Just characters, but they're fictional. Okay, so as the carriage came to a stop, I don't know, the imposing structure of the royal society, I do like that description better than this. I just don't know how to work it in. Better than this line here. Boop. I think I'm doing too much detailed work. It's fine enough for a deeper line edit, so we'll go with this for right now. So come back over to this one. Oh, it's not the full thing. Where does it go to? Where did I start at? Oh, I did. Okay. He stared out the carriage window. Okay. So this is where the hard part is with Notion. Notion kind of sucks at copy and paste. So there we go. Now it's there. Mr. Smithson. Ah, young Darcy. He passed away several years ago. So this one had this, and then there was better things, I think, with the chat. Now I'm kind of remembering for Claude, where okay, I'm starting to understand it. Here we go. This is the first part of the scene. Up to here. Right here. And then we come over here and we put that in. Got it. Now, Smithson looked up, but I want the part from this one.
The older man looked up from his book. Hopefully there's a book in the other one. It's fine. We can introduce the book there. I must say, it's hard to tangle away. Your father was like a brother to me. Because this had the violin. Give Mrs. Darcy my regards. I shall call on you in a day or two once I've smoothed things over with Northumberland. The two men shook hands for it. So, and he's going to call him Percy. Because it's Hugh Percy. So we have this goes here. And then I'm going to change it right here. One last stop to make. Mr. Darcy made his way out into the night, refreshed and with one last stop to make. Until home. Okay, Mr. Bingley. Which means now for context, because he didn't be, I mean, Mr. Bingley, they just arrived in London and everything like that. So I want him to basically, I'm going to have to add some stuff in here. Superior Bingley section. Okay, so this is after that one. I thought we had more Bingley. This is not enough Mr. Bingley. There we go. Okay, that's a better context and I can work with it. He had a feeling that if he did not check on Mr. Bingley, that would be one of his wives. Getting settled in. That would be one of his wife's first questions. Okay. Stopped at, find out which club you have in book 1. Because they have a specific club. It's like Whiting's or Brooks or whatever. So, and depending on which one you assign your gentleman is which way their politics lean. So, oh, and the other thing I wanted to fix over here was the Percy. When he says this, I will call on you. With Percy. You may leave it with me. Okay. And I think I might add some stuff in here too, like add some science crap. Add some science stuff in. The guy liked blowing wind on candles. Okay, there we go. Talked about in that last session. Like there's scientific experiments and stuff like that. I really feel like this, I want this punched up with more emotion and expanded. So I'm going to grab this to Claude. Read this. Please expand and punch up the emotion. Okay. More emotional punch. Bingley. Oh, Darcy. I've made a right mess of things, haven't I? Whatever is the matter? I'll tell you what's the matter. My blasted fool of a land agent dragged me all the way to London only to inform me that Buxton Hall is mortgaged up to its bloody chimneys. I like this. This is much better. Calm yourself, Bingley. Getting into a state will not help matters. But don't you see, Darcy? I'm a failure. A terrible disappointment. I can't even provide a room over my family's heads. What kind of worthless man does that make me? You listen to me. You're not a failure. Okay, we're not going to do the dry your eyes now. It's not like a brother. He is a brother. Okay. So I like this last little bit. I like this. This is good. So we'll grab this. And this is Word counter 226. Yeah, there was a version where this would be better. So this is tools word count 143. So I do get some added bonus by putting this in. 226. I'm going to have to clean up so much formatting, but that's okay. I'm in 2 days. Come tomorrow afternoon after the inquest. Stay for dinner. Langley nodded. I won't turn down your wife's table. But how will that fix anything? Darcy laughed. I'll make an appointment. My land agent is far more competent than yours. Okay. And no, not that. Okay, we're going to grab this here. This is another way that you can use pseudo-write when you're kind of writing. I'm just going to add a new document just so that I'm working fresh here. And at the bottom here, why is that a link? That should not be a link. All right. So here you can use write, the write button, and I can use write settings and I can kind of do key details. Let's just do 3 cards. His errands complete. Return to Darcy House. And put the creativity in the middle. And now I can just click write and it'll do that. So key details, you can use it to kind of steer it a little bit. The 2 men sat in silence. That's true. Okay. So we'll do this. I apologize. No need to apologize, my friend. Mr. Darcy. And Bingley grew suspicious. What are you planning now, old friend? Only this. If I find a solution to you and Jane's housing troubles, you take Mrs. Bennet to live with you. There we go. Okay, that's funny and perfect. And that ends the scene enough there. I like it. Okay, so we have all of this. And it was 1344. And now when I paste it in, we are at tools word count 1500. I'll take it. And we are at 44,598 words. So this particular week, we ended up adding 10,000 words. It is at 1020 right now. So that is, I think, the end of the Write A Thon. I think we did good. I think we did good this week. 10,000 words that stayed on track, because it's not easy when you're working with, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get everything situated here, and I'm going to take the thing down here. We'll remove the live stream. There we go. Yeah, so it's not easy trying to work with the AI when you have a book already in progress, right? It is labor intensive. You have to lend it your brain. You have to be fully cognizant of all the little details for all those things to connect. We did do a lot of tricks. The living document was really helpful, especially for the early sessions. Earlier today in session 5, we did that thing where I grabbed a chapter actually from book 3 and I said, read this chapter, and the information here has to be included in this. So it can be more cumbersome to try to write and pick up a project in the middle and have the AI kind of assist you, because again, it's not able to keep all the details straight. You have to. Some tools and tricks I did. I do leave myself notes. Breadcrumbs are your friend. Pretend you're Hansel and Gretel, because as you go down the pathway of different things when you're writing with your book, you may, if you think of it like a tree kind of a situation, if this is your main draft or whatever, you may end up finding yourself going down different branches that you never expected yourself to go down, all because the AI enables you to very quickly kind of iterate and go, let's see how this goes. Oh, no. Turn around, go back. You made, what's the Bugs Bunny quote? I must have made a wrong turn at Albuquerque. Yeah. So when you're writing with AI and you're working on a book that's already in progress, it's very easy to make a wrong turn at Albuquerque. So, all right. Thank you everyone so much for supporting this write-a-thon. It has been an absolute joy. I've really enjoyed seeing the same people over and over again. It's really been fun to support other people in their AI writing. So let us know in the comments what you're doing with it. And for the rest of you, I will see you in lab this week. I will not be in labs on Saturday, but and I will go ahead and make that link for the Zoom room. So thank you so much. You guys have a great night. Good luck with your writing projects this weekend, or if you're watching this in the future, then. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.